Hello, it is time for more Premier League darts with the Sportsman. I'm Dan Dawson, giving you a bit of insight into what to look out for on week 2 of the tournament in Glasgow. Now, let's get this out of the way first. Week 1, it didn't go well with my tips. I was let down by a couple of results. One by Rob Cross against Peter Wright. I had backed the world number 2 Voltage to beat Snakebite Rise. However, it was a draw. Fantastic game of darts. Both men averaging over 100. I wasn't sure whether Peter Wright was in good enough form to be playing that, but he pulled out the goods when it mattered. The other one, I've been bigging up Daryl Gurney. I still think Daryl Gurney is a very good value bet to go and win the entire thing. I think he can make the top 4. He was the biggest 180 hitter in the tournament last year and only missed out in the final week of regular season action on making the playoffs. I still think he can do it. He was only undone by a sparkling display from Gerwyn Price, who shrugged off all the concerns about a suspended ban hanging over him and a world record fine imposed on him for his aggressive behaviour at the Grand Slam of darts, particularly in the final against Gary Anderson. And he played perhaps his best game we've seen from him on TV with 104 average. Now, Gerwyn is going to be taking on Raymond van Barneveld in Glasgow. You can imagine the reception he is going to get from the Scottish fans, who are all Gary Anderson fans. Look, most darts fans are Gary Anderson fans, but particularly so at the Hydro in Glasgow. Now, they're going to make life very difficult for Gerwyn Price. He's up against Raymond van Barneveld, who I just do not know what to expect from him. He wasn't particularly good at the weekend on the Pro Tour. He was all right against James Wade. It looked like he had the game in the bag. He perhaps could have beaten the machine. He was even nodding as he was throwing his darts. He fired in a 180. It looked like he had the grit and determination he needed. And then he missed some doubles and it all fell apart and he lost. And unfortunately for Barney, if he doesn't get his act together, then it could be a very tame exit in the Premier League, which is supposed to be a great sort of goodbye tour for him in his final year of professional darts before he retires. Having said that, Barney is so unpredictable, I'm going to stay well away from betting on Barney games for now until I've actually figured out whether we're getting legendary, brilliant 5-time world champion Barney or we're getting the I'm not really sure I can do this, I don't have any belief Barney. However, there's plenty of value elsewhere, starting with the opening game of the night, and I think it could be the best game of the night. It is Michael Smith, the Premier League finalist and world finalist, against Peter Snakebite Wright. Now, I don't understand how this has been priced up. Yes, I get that Michael Smith is the World and Premier League finalist. He is on the up and he's shot up the rankings. He is an incredible player and many people, including myself, believe he is going to be a world champion one day. But he's up against Peter Wright, who is no mug. It's not as if he's on a massive slide, Peter Wright. He played well at the weekend. He did brilliantly against Rob Cross in the first week to come back and get a draw after a slow start. And he's beaten Michael Smith pretty much 2-1 in terms of the number of times they've played, including the last 3 times, once on a TV final on the World Series last year, and twice in the last fortnight, including at the weekend, where Michael Smith averaged 112 against him, and Peter Wright still beat him with 110 average. Now, of course, Michael Smith can win this. I think it's going to be quite close, but surely, when the bookies are priced it up at Bet365, 7-4 for Peter Wright, then you cannot ignore that value. That seems to make a lot of sense. And that's a running theme for looking at the games this week, I think. I'm looking at James Wade taking on Rob Cross. Now, if you ask me who I think is going to win, I think Rob Cross might just nick it, but I certainly think his odds are too short. When James Wade, who at the weekend was averaging 96 for his entire games, he was brilliant against Raymond van Barneveld, particularly on the finishing, which is always his strong point. And he's at 7-4 as well to win it. With Rob Cross at 11-10, I'd be swaying towards backing Wade. I think that's the sensible decision. He certainly hit a lot of 180s at the minute, James Wade. Hit 18 of them at the weekend. That is more than Rob Cross, who is a big 180 hitter himself. So I'd be looking at James Wade and Peter Wright, who are the underdogs in those first 2 games, but very, very capable. Wright should have won the Premier League. He missed darts a couple of years ago in the final to beat Van Gerwen. James Wade has won the Premier League. He knows what this is about and said after last week he is in a spiral of positivity after beating Raymond van Barneveld. Then we've got that Barney game against Gerwyn Price. I'm staying well clear of that. I do not want to put any money on that because I just don't know how Barney's going to react. Interesting game after that though, and it is Daryl Gurney. I'm going to keep faith with Gurney, but it is a fascinating clash. Because Gary Anderson is withdrawn from the Premier League, we have these contenders, a different player each week for the 9 weeks before Judgment Night. This week, it is a big one. It's not an up-and-coming young player. It is an up-and-coming established name over from the BDO, the 3-time Lakeside World Champion, Duzzer, Glen Durrant. Now, people have been itching to see this guy play in the PDC. He scraped through Q School to get the right to play on the tour. People were still saying, he's not going to cut it. He's not good enough. At the weekend, in just his second PDC tournament, he went on and made the final. Only lost in a last leg decider to Dave Chizzy Chisnell. Now, that is enormously impressive, and Glen Durrant is a quality player. The bookies can't split them at Bet365. It is 7-5, the pair of them. But I'd still look at Daryl Gurney. He has the experience of playing in front of this enormous crowd. I mean, Glen Durrant, for winning 3 world titles, he won't have played in an atmosphere like this. At the weekend, as well as he did in making that final, he still didn't break the 100 average mark at any point during any of his games, or, well, at the end of any of his games. Daryl Gurney is doing that. He was good last week against Gerwyn Price. He was just beaten by a phenomenal performance. He was good at the weekend with a couple of ton-plus averages, and he is hitting 180s. He hit more 180s than ever in the Premier League last year. He's actually, odds against, hit more 180s than Glen Durrant in this game. I do not understand that. I'd be looking at 11-10 for Gurney to hit more 180s and 7-5 for Gurney to go and win that match. The final game will see Michael van Gerwen. I think he's just going to do what he does. I think he's going to top the league standings. I think he's going to win. You're going to ask me every week, what do I think Van Gerwen's going to do this week? I'm going to tell you he's going to win. He probably will lose 1 or 2 games over the course of this, but I'm not sure where they're going to happen. I don't think Mensur Suljovic has got it in him to stop Mighty Mike in front of that massive Glasgow crowd on Thursday night. So, if you're looking at an ACCA, and again, I'm staying clear of Barney, Michael van Gerwen, and then you're going to get some value with Gurney, with Wade, and with Wright, you're getting around about 22-1 for that. I think that makes sense. What a night we've got in store in Glasgow. Glen Durrant, his first big TV tournament in the PDC. However, I'll say it's not going to end happily for him.